I'm Summer Huntington of Shala and Steel Mace Vinyasa, and today I'll be demonstrating a 360 swing with both a mace and a steel club. This is a 7-pound mace, and this is a very common exercise known as a 360 swing. I start with my mace in a prayer position, and I angle my mace up so that the globe points about 45 degrees behind me. I want to maintain some leverage here. I lift my hands up, preparing for a block. So imagine somebody striking at my skull. I'm essentially holding my weapon up to prevent being striked. So I come into my block phase. Second phase, I dump the mace behind me. I come into another leveraged block, and then I wield my mace into prayer position. So it looks like this in fast motion. I block, I dump, I pull, block, dump, pull. From behind, it looks like this: block, dump, pull. Notice my hands are dropping beneath the nape of my neck. I'm not holding my hands up here awkwardly. I'm actually bending at the elbow and using what's called an intelligent grip. So I'm not death gripping the mace as I swing. So you can do this on either side: loose hands, prayer position, block, dump, pull, wield it into position, block, dump, pull. Notice this action is really similar to a single-handed shield cast. I just have two hands on the mace instead of one. Let's go up and wait and see how these movements apply across various tools and across increasing the load and the lever size. So next I have a 10-pound steel mace. Same mechanics apply. I like to have my top hand indicate the direction of the swing. You can honestly start with either hand. Doesn't really matter a whole lot. You can swing in both directions. If my hand is higher, it's just going to change the leverage just very slightly, and it's going to recruit different muscles at different degrees. But that's beside the point. Okay, so back to our prayer position. So we block, phase one. We dump, drop the mace behind, and pull. A common misalignment is that the trajectory of a swing with a new practitioner, it doesn't get this whole smooth, like 180-degree angle. What happens is they kind of go behind and they swing and they pull it over, which really doesn't look very clean, and it's really not how the mace is meant to swing in a 360, and it's really not how the hand is supposed to work in a throwing pattern. So you see the throwing pattern that is here, the striking pattern. When I add speed, it becomes a little more rigorous. I've got more rotation in my core. I can switch sides. I really like to add speed as a way to really double or even quadruple my force. You can do 10 and 2s where you're catching at that angle with the 10-pound mace. This is a great way to stay honest with the leverage that you're actually pulling. And also it'll really keep you honest with the planes that you're swinging in. I like to actually pause in that angle and hold it versus going super fast. Okay, hopefully this inspires you to get swinging. That's a 7, that's a 10-pound mace. So we've got our 10-pound club. We approach the club with a proper hip hinge. We capture the club with our silverback grip. We pull the club into a shoulder pack position. Partial swing, and again, pull the mace into an order position. So here I am in order, here I am in partial prayer. Order, partial prayer. In most club swinging programs, you're gonna wanna have your elbow married to the rib. If you're swinging a lighter mace, there might be times when you do like a half prayer position without the elbow married to the rib. So that would be with a 7-pound mace. But for today, let's focus on elbow to rib, swing, catch, elbow to rib. Order, we square up to the club, we cast the mace behind the back, there's a little swivel that happens, we catch the mace in a single-handed order position, wrist and elbow in a line, cast, straight elbow, swing, catch. This is a throwing pattern. Could also be a striking pattern, depending on if we had a stone to throw, or we had a weapon to strike, or a purpose for striking, like chopping wood. Cast, swing, catch. So do you see how this pattern mimics the 360 swing? The only difference here is that now I'm adding this semicircle swing and catch versus just continuous single-handed mills. Let's take a look at the mechanics of a two-handed 25-pound 360 swing. I'll show it from the front, I'll show it from behind. And again, just observe, if you're not quite up to a 25-pound club, just observe the mechanics of the two-handed swing, of the single-handed swing, of what it looks like with a mace and what it looks like with a shorter tool. Main difference between a club and a mace has a globe. A club is a barrel, it's shorter, it's more condensed. And so how that force lands in the body is also different. For me, when I'm swinging a heavy club, it is all about core. I'm rotating with my hips. I'm really swiveling and doing more of a side hip root to shock absorb. When I'm holding a mace, oftentimes I can kind of keep my legs relatively straight and my glutes engaged. I'll show one more time with the 10, with the two-handed. So here we are, we square up to the club. One hand closest to the knob. I recommend pulling it up with a partial front swing, so you can sit back, pull it up. I'm gonna start with mine in a two-handed, it's not quite a prayer position here, but it's anchored here with two hands and the elbows touching the ribs. I could also start here. I switch my hands, block, dump, pull. That's it from the front. Switch hand position, behind. So do you see how much I have to actually shock absorb with my body as I'm swinging the heavier and shorter club? Versus, let's go back to the 10. The 10 is gonna feel like a feather. There's a little swing and a little sway. Sway is moving right to left. There's not quite as much rotation as well. This is why it's super important to cross-train with different sizes and different tools. I work with mace and clubs. I teach mace and clubs regularly in my teacher training cohorts, in the workshops and the retreats that I facilitate year-round, in training seminars, and in all of my online content. So if you're wanting to advance in your skill set, get multiple tools, train with programs that are dialed in and that really focus on the mechanics and proper form, and have fun. Take your mace outside, bring it with you on vacation, go out in the woods, come out in the natural environment, in the natural world, and train with clubs and mace, train with primal tools, and train natural movement patterns.